Welcome to the Sunken Ledger. Here we chart the ocean's darkest tales of lost souls, cursed ships, and ancient legends. Tonight, we sail into the frigid waters of the Baltic Sea to uncover the deadliest maritime disaster in history, the sinking of the Wilhelm Gustloff. On the night of January 30th, 1945, the Wilhelm Gustloff cut through the icy darkness of the Baltic Sea. Once a proud cruise ship of Nazi Germany, she had been transformed into a floating lifeboat, packed far beyond her limits with refugees fleeing the advancing Soviet army. Her decks groaned under the weight of more than 10,000 souls, soldiers, nurses, families, children wrapped in rags against the winter's cold. Outside, the temperature plunged below freezing. Ice clung to the railings like brittle lace, and the ship's wake glowed with eerie phosphorescence beneath a leaden sky. The passengers huddled in every corner, corridors crowded with the sick and wounded, lifeboats frozen to their davits, the fear of Soviet submarines whispering through the steel hull. For many aboard, the Gustloff was their last hope. She had once been a symbol of luxury, glittering ballrooms, polished brass, and music that drifted across sunlit decks. Now, she was a fortress of desperation, her elegant halls echoing with cries of hunger and dread. Children slept on staircases, mothers cradled babies against their chests, and soldiers stood watch on the icy decks, scanning the horizon for periscopes that might glint in the gloom. As night fell, the ship's captain, Friedrich Petersen, ordered the Gustloff to light her navigation lamps, a desperate decision to avoid collision with other German vessels fleeing the chaos. But in the darkness, those lights became a beacon for something far more deadly. Hidden beneath the waves, Soviet submarine S-13 stalked the Gustloff like a silent predator. Captain Alexander Marinesko watched through his periscope, his breath fogging the narrow lens. He saw the bright lights of the ship and knew this was no ordinary target. It was a chance to strike a blow against the Nazi war machine. At 9:16 p.m., 3 torpedoes streaked through the black water. They slammed into the Gustloff's hull with a violence that shook the ship from stem to stern. The first tore through the bow, flooding cabins and crew quarters in an instant. The second detonated in the heart of the ship, where women and children huddled in the swimming pool, a single cataclysmic blow that turned the pool into a tomb. The third torpedo struck the engine room, killing power and plunging the ship into darkness. Panic erupted. The Gustloff listed sharply to port as freezing water poured through the torn steel. In the darkness, people stumbled and fell, their screams echoing off the cold walls. Mothers clutched children, men clawed at locked doors, and lifeboats, frozen solid, refused to budge from their davits. The deck became a swirling nightmare of ice and terror, the air filled with the wail of those who knew the sea was about to claim them. Some passengers leapt into the black water, only to be swallowed by the freezing sea within minutes. Others clung to each other on the slanting decks, prayers and curses lost in the roar of the wind. The Gustloff sank slowly, her lights flickering like dying stars as she slipped beneath the waves. Within 40 minutes, the proud ship was gone. The icy waters closed over her, taking with them more than 9,000 souls, making it the deadliest shipwreck in recorded history. The sea, indifferent to human suffering, swallowed their cries and left only silence in its wake. In the years that followed, the Wilhelm Gustloff lay in the cold darkness, her once grand halls now filled with silt and silence. Divers who dared to descend spoke of ghostly visions in the flickering light, ballrooms littered with debris, cabins frozen in their final moments, and a presence that seemed to linger in the shadows. The story of the Wilhelm Gustloff is one of desperation and doom, a final voyage where luxury became ruin, and a ship that once carried laughter became a tomb for thousands. It is a reminder that even the mightiest vessels can fall to the cold embrace of the sea, and that in the darkest nights of war, there is no mercy for those caught between the guns and the ice. Thank you for listening to the Sunken Ledger. Subscribe for more true tales from the depths.